It is every despicable characteristic a person could have to take their side and to shun me. Things basically work like this. There's a bunch of sexual sadists who like being whipped and taking out their frustrations, if you will, on females, little boys, gay guys, sexually. You can imagine how that plays out. Okay? They embrace the disgrace. That's their philosophy. Okay, so they basically say, call them a mass murderer, call them a dirty old man, call them a sicko, you know, and then they have their turn and they fuck a bitch doggy style, etc. Excuse my French. You get the point. Okay, not a big fan of speaking on this. It is disturbing as hell, but it has to be said, and I've been trying to explain it for a long time. Okay, so all these people in the world suffer and die so that the pussy and the money flow a certain way, and these guys who have fetishes for little boys and stuff, they abuse them. I'm sure most of you picked up on that from the Epstein and the Weinstein and the different famous cases, Keith Rainier, Allison Mack, sex calls, Hollywood sex calls, Curly, and so on and so forth. Okay, obviously these things existed as long as they did because there's massive networks of rich people and politicians in covering their own ass. I'm sure you picked up on that and you're satisfied that that's true. Okay, they do bitch ass shit, and the females that roll with it, okay, there's no excuse. Imagine being shunned for the worst monsters that ever lived in history, and their subordinates. Okay, they're subordinates in the military, the police, the social clubs, the Christian group movements that are allowed, Muslims, Jewish movements that are allowed, New Age movements that are allowed, every movement that's allowed, the social orders. And people are idolizing these people. Idol, right? The CIA sex kitten program, for example, whether it exists or not, is the idea that you dumb women down and using psychology and chemistry and coercion and peer pressure and so on and so forth till they willingly subject themselves to that white makeup and they act like dolls. And there's chicks who don't look so evil who are playing the good girl role, right? It's like the good girl, schoolgirl fetish, right? The decent girl from a nice family. They're all fucking scum. That's the situation. Everyone in a cult, in a culture that's allowed, is evil. That's why the Bible in 1 John 2:15 says, don't love the world or anything in the world. Whoever loves the world, love for the Father is not in them. Okay? That's what's going on. It's trickle down pedo energy, trickle down mass murder energy, sexual sadism energy, mass rape by deception, mass rape energy, mass drugging energy, mass thieving, exploitation in its various forms, trickle down fucking magic card bitch energy. That's why the witten and wizzo is the root word for wise and wisdom, the root words, and it refers to sages, right? A math wizard, right? Wizzo, a sage, okay? Witten, to know. The tree of knowledge, their magic card, bitch, and they use chemistry, psychology, peer pressure, coercion to create dissociative states of mind. That's what the story of Psyche and Eros is about, disassociating. Why Pan, Psyche is said to recognize Pan's divinity. And Pan means all the Greco-Roman deities. So all the characteristics of the governing class, all the gene expressions, all the personalities, all the things they embrace, especially sexually, they want every attractive woman to embrace. And there's the gender-neutral hermaphrodite, Hermes and Aphrodite. They want guys who are gay, the Baphomet and so on. They want them to be their sex slaves. That's what's going on. Okay, it's not just the left. One can argue it's more the right than the left, and the left is to express it more openly to distract you about who's doing it and why. Okay, that's the situation. There's no excuse for it. That's why people aren't worthy. This is instrumental in why people aren't worthy to continue the Spirit of God. They look at this situation. They know it's hopeless. They know the only people that could turn this thing around in terms of the world and the flesh, okay, are the main guys doing it, and their bloodlines are utterly disqualified, and they keep going and breeding anyway. They keep having sex. They keep being parts of their culture. There's no excuse for that. God said, love the Lord thy God with all your heart, all your being, all your mind, all your soul. These people did not do that. Everyone else broke the greatest commandment. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends. These people has none than this. These people did not have enough love to be willing to die for God, and that's despicable. These people go on and on about how they'll die for the country at times, their family, their kids. They'd rather die than do this, that, and the other thing. Of course, they don't love God enough to rather die than be an idolater fucking scumbag, than to be complicit by being slack in their work with the screening out of God's Son, who is me. Thank you. And of course, these immature bitches edit my videos, right? That's why I come close. You say I look different. something about their software makes me, at a certain distance that I typically make my videos, has to do with the strain that's caused on my eyes. I look like a weirdo. As I come into different positions, I look different, okay? You can see that I'm not this weird kind of, I'm a weird guy. It looks like I'm almost deranged or something, close up. Okay, if you look carefully, you can still see God in me through this kind of facade that they've chemically induced, and with psychology and so on, and with harassment, make this kind of, I'm sick of being harassed kind of look, kind of grrr, kind of, irritated, annoyed. It's not the same as mental illness. I go as far as to say there isn't a psychiatrist on the planet who isn't capable of looking at this and saying he's not mentally ill. There's some kind of psyop going on. The evidence is overwhelming. The evidence correlates to the point that it's obvious that it's causal. It's not just logical to know that I don't have a mental illness. It's logical and logical to know that they're running a psyop on me and that that's causing my behavior and my look. But it's clear cut to the point where we can say definitively that is the cause of my look and behavior. Okay, technology, chemistry, okay, pharmacology, substances and materials that alter behavior, and not a hereditary mental illness. Not a chemical imbalance that naturally occurs, but a substance-induced chemical imbalance, and it's the greater kind of mental health kind of complex, okay, military-industrial complex, like mental health complex, which overlaps with the military-industrial complex, albeit as a part of it, okay, that is the problem and not the solution. Thank you.